Well, I'm glad to say Liam can join us in the studio once more. It is an extraordinary story, isn't it? And you'd imagine that given all the potential there, investors would be queuing up to put their money into it.
I think investors are queuing up to put their money into it. The North East has got, carbon capture projects in Teesside. As I showed in that film, you've got major international companies. Turntide are a big American outfit working in the North East. You've got all this renewable energy coming in.
Car production already.
You've got obviously it's on a lot of definitions it's the biggest car making hub in Britain. Now obviously we've got the Midlands, we've got the South Wales, but with that Nissan factory, the only gigafactory making these EV batteries in the UK is linked to the Nissan plant. It's now owned by a company called Envision, but that's the only one. And also just offshore, Mark, halfway to Norway, you've got Dogger Bank, where the world's biggest offshore wind farm is being built. And that wind farm, the interconnector, makes landfall, very close to Blythe. Yeah. So it kind of makes a lot of sense. What I think is happening is I think that private sector investors, very, very canny people, they know the government facility of 100 million is there if certain private sector money is committed. Britishvolt's failed to do that. But I'd say they're all biding their time. Britishvolt is just a start-up company. I think they're waiting to a bit nearer the election. The government gets desperate. They know that they need to get spades in the ground at that site on Camis. Unless you do that, then the whole idea of the green revolution upon which lots of other investment hinges and jobs and this sense of levelling up more broadly is then seriously in jeopardy. So I think there's a high-stakes game going on of negotiation behind the scenes between the private sector and the state. From
the people you've spoken to, what do you think they want from the government or see as acceptable? And there's 100 million, you say, on the table at the moment. Are they wanting that doubled, or what sort of figure would they be?
Nobody, even the notion that a negotiation is going on is deeply otherworldly to lots of people. I personally think it is, and very senior people in the government have told me this morning, having seen an earlier version of that report, that they think that's what's happening as well. And also that the general public in the North East wants this to happen. An organisation called Britain Remade just sent me a poll in the last hour, and that poll shows that in the North East, 85% of local people support building more onshore wind facilities, complete contrast to parts of Middle England and Surrey and so on. 90% of people in the North East want more offshore wind, 91% want more solar powers on homes, and 65%, two-thirds, think not enough infrastructure spending is happening in the North East, despite the fact that there has been quite a lot of spending on the North East in recent years. So they're pretty stark figures, and that, again, is part of the potential. The workforce, the local people are up for this green revolution.
And the key to this, you're saying, obviously we need the battery plants where the cars could be built, and that we at least 10, really, to provide any kind of future for car production? These
are industry figures, and obviously people promoting these figures are trying to jump on a bandwagon and so on. But look, we can't fulfil, in my view, that government pledge to ban the new sale of petrol and diesel cars by 2030 if we've only got one gigafactory in this country building the batteries for the cars. We can't import that many cars. And you can only make electric vehicles really close to where the batteries are made because they're so heavy and uneconomic to transport until you put them in the actual cars. So I think unless you get these, if you believe in EV, if you believe in electric vehicles...
That's a different question.
And that's a different question that we can talk about. But if you are going to back electric vehicles in this way, you need the gigafactories to build the batteries so then the cars can be built locally rather than being imported.
Liam, thanks for bringing us up to speed with that special report. Thank you very much indeed.